Hi, my name is Nikki, and today this video is going to inform you and warn you about how you can reap enormous consequences by posting on social media. So today I want to encourage you to definitely stop and think before you post on social media. Your future, your career, your life, they could all be in jeopardy. A few key points I will talk about today is the first one: social media can be used against you when applying for jobs. The second one, social media can be used against you in a court of law. And lastly, tips and guidance to avoid negative consequences when posting on social media. We all use Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Some of us use TikTok, LinkedIn, all sorts of web platforms to kind of stay connected. And those are all social media platforms. First, I want to talk about how social media can be used against you when applying for jobs. Me personally, I'm an employment specialist and I work hand in hand with hiring managers, business owners, supervisors, and they have told me personally that they do look at the Facebook profiles just to kind of see what kind of person you are or what kind of person is applying for the job. They kind of want to know the backstory, make sure, who they're hiring. According to a 2018 Career Builder survey, 70% of employers use social media to screen candidates during the hiring process, and about 43% of employers use social media to check on current employees. So of course, even after you get hired, you want to be careful of what you post on social media. Next, I want to talk about how social media can be used against you in a court of law. I work alongside mental health court drug participants, probation officers, drug court participants. They can check people's phones, they investigate the integrity, they check Facebook just to make sure nobody's having communication that they shouldn't. Facebook evidence can be admissible in a court of law. Admissible means valid, so they can hold it against you in a court of law. I also have a visual aid video I wanted to share with you from Judge Michael Corriero. He also gives a good example of how Facebook evidence or how social media evidence can be used against you. Here we go.
A young man is accused of possessing weapons. He's never had a weapon in his life, Judge. All right. You go on Facebook and you see the kid there with two guns, in each hand with a big smile on his face. It's over. Do you have any records with respect to that? Is that right? For the most part, if you publish something on the internet, then that goes into the public domain. If you say, well, that's not my photograph, that has to be resolved before a jury would see it, for example. Is this you? Isn't you? And how can we prove it's actually you? And how can you prove it? Well, it came out of this account. The account is traceable to you. If someone uses a photograph of you and makes it public when perhaps you intended it not to be, you might be able to have an action against a friend for unfairly depicting you as a drunk, for example. But if you were actually drunk, then I think you're in trouble. There's no prohibition against taking that photograph. You're out in public. People are just recording that moment. If it's a matter of criminality, it's too bad. If that's an accurate representation of you, that's the strongest evidence of your guilt. So why would we keep it out of evidence? The prohibition against using illegally obtained evidence applies primarily, essentially solely, to law enforcement. It doesn't apply to another civilian. If you were foolish enough to let other people know your criminality, well, that's too bad.
Awesome. So he talked about how somebody with a gun charge, and then they go and deny the gun charge and say, oh, I've never had a gun before. And then you go and look on social media and they're caught there on Facebook with multiple guns. That immediately proves their guilt. So that was the beginning of that video. I just wanted to reiterate kind of what he was saying. Let's see, another example of how social media can be used against you in a court of law. For example, if you are in a child custody battle, the lawyers, judges, legal representatives, they can search your social media and make sure that you would be a fit parent honestly, or if they see, you know, criminal activity, drugs, guns, anything like that, then they can hold that against you in a custody battle, for example, or in a court of law. Technically, we have little control over other people's actions. We can only control ourselves or what we post. So I want to encourage you again to please stop and think before you post on social media. You never know who's going to really look at your Facebook or Twitter, Instagram. You never really know who's going to look at that. Social media. So lastly, what I can do to encourage you, I want to definitely encourage you to not post any drugs, alcohol, partying, definitely nothing discriminatory, nothing illegal. We all have freedom of speech in this country, and freedom of speech can mean consequences when you abuse that right, technically. I want to definitely encourage you to check your privacy settings. Keep it private, but don't be inactive. Keep it private, but not too private. And don't have 10 different profiles with the same name, same picture. That just gets confusing. That will arise suspicion. So to summarize what we just went over, let's see. Social media can be used against you when applying for jobs or for your career. Social media can be used against you in a court of law. So please stop and think before you post on social media. Don't let it jeopardize your present or your future. The world is advancing in technology as we know it. Most of our information is online and can be found out online. Please stop and think before you post. If you have any doubt, throw it out. Go with your gut. Just use that commonality, or just think before you post. And as Ron Burgundy would say, stay classy, San Diego.